this is another film now that is very much of an unpleasant discovery. It's an unpleasantly, absolutely reprehensible little sleaze pit of a movie named Friday the 13th Part 2. And of course, this is a sequel to last summer's movie Friday the 13th, and it's a continuation of the senseless, gruesome, violent murders we saw in that first film. When we did our special edition of sneak previews on movie violence directed against women a few months ago, Friday the 13th was one of the movies we attacked. Well, Friday the 13th Part 2 isn't just against women, it's against everybody. The movie's distributor, Paramount Pictures, isn't providing scenes for television reviews, nor would they let us make an excerpt from the film to show you. Maybe they're not very proud of this movie, and maybe they shouldn't be very proud of this movie, but they sure are advertising it heavily. And that's the strategy behind films like this. They saturate television with a violent ad campaign, hope to make their money quickly before word gets around on how scummy the movie really is. Here's the way this film is being sold on television.
The body count continues. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Jeff?
The day you count on for terror is not over. Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Well, that condenses the high points, or maybe I should say the low points of this sequel. It exists only to show killing and mutilation. In the movie, young camp counselors return to the woods where the summer camp massacre occurred in the original Friday the 13th, and they hear stories about a kid who drowned in the lake, or did he? Nope. The kid is turned into a monster who lurks in the woods and carves up unsuspecting young camp counselors. The teenagers try to hide, but this monster just keeps coming. He's almost a supernatural force. The characters in the movie are never developed, they're just interchangeable victims. And the killer is not developed either. He functions only as a murder machine. The teenagers fight back with pitchforks, but what difference does it make? How can there be dramatic tension when we know this monster can't be killed? Friday the 13th Part 2 is a disheartening and depressing movie because it contains an absolutely negative view of human nature. It's just a series of teenagers who come on screen, say a few words, and then they're hacked to pieces. Among the movie's low points is a kid in a wheelchair who has his head hacked open by a machete, and a young couple who are both impaled by the same spear. This isn't a movie, it's a cinematic geek show. It seems to be made by and for people with no cheerfulness, no hope, no trust in human nature.
I think that's well said, and I can only add that, yeah, when the machete went into the head of the kid in the wheelchair, that's about when I gave up on the picture. Depressing is the key word in this discussion, because I think some people say, oh, they're just picking on that same old thing again, and what I'm saying is no. I'm only picking on films, horror films, that are depressing. Not exhilarating, depressing. It's the same movie shot after shot, and it's depressing.
I walked into the theater, I sat there, I thought, gee, the first one made so much money, maybe for Part 2 they decided to spend a little money, spend a little talent, have a little imagination. The movie is so cynical. It's simply a series of mutilations and murders. This movie is made by people who hate movie audiences.
Well, the other thing that I can think of is I had the same expectations. I said, well, let's see, maybe they'll go another way. Maybe they won't have anybody killed. Wouldn't that be clever? Wouldn't that be challenging, fresh? No, no. Bang, bang, bang. And we both hated Friday the 13th Part 2, another movie about a mad slasher with a knife, a hatchet, and a machete.
So it'd be an understatement to say that we both hated Friday the 13th Part 2.
Right.